please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic?
Hey guys, it's me, Francis. And you know, last time this Gamergate thing happened all those years ago, I feel like I was on the wrong side of history. I was just kind of a bit of a fence sitter last time, and so this time, I want to make sure I'm on the right side of history. You know, last time that big meanie Anita Sarkeesian was so mean to me at VidCon, and I didn't like that very much, so this time, I'm gonna side with all the racists and the Nazis and stuff like that.
That was a apparent parody from Tipster with regards to Boogie taking a stance on Gamergate 2.0. Gamergate 1.0 was a consumer revolt against biased journalism in the video game industry. 2.0 is shaping up quite well so far. I'm firmly on the side of the gamers if you didn't know. Tipster is not, because he's trying to find every remaining nail he can put in the coffin that is his YouTube channel. Because Boogie has made his position quite clear on it this time, much like last time, Tipster doesn't like this, so Tipster has parodied Boogie. Understandably, this distraction from what happened more recently has led to some rather interesting blowback, and it did get Tipster trending again. It's a rare treat to see somebody you once respected trend. As somebody that's never himself trended because stealth YouTuber, I find it quite fascinating because everyone then has an opinion on you, and a lot of it highly negative. On Twitter, Tipster had posted, "BOOGIE2988 becoming a quartering ripoff wasn't on my 2024 bingo card, but it should have been. He's lost a lot of relevancy in recent years, and his bank account is looking rather empty these days. So nothing like the quartering then. The quartering has businesses. The quartering makes decent money. Granted, his regular uploads don't get over 100k a day, which is what the quartering was getting for every single video, but he's still pushing decent views on a regular basis, and he multiple uploads a day. Boogie had it all, had a meltdown, became a lolcow, lost his views, and is in the process of currently rebuilding his name, reputation, and his standing. A lot of what has happened to Boogie came down to poor mental health. It really did, and some incredibly bad decisions. Something which he's been very open and honest about. Can you compare him to the quartering? Not really, but you know what? You do you. And being the lovable Mr. Rogers character of the internet wasn't working anymore because people got a chance to see behind the curtain I assume, and get a good look at what the real Boogie2988 is. And surprise, surprise, they didn't like it. Not to mention the fact that the anti-woke grift is extremely profitable. Really? I haven't done very well from it. And I can imagine seeing folks like the Quartering and Melanie Mac rake in mountains of cash on that grift. Looks rather appealing to a has-been with a career on life support, whose only current claim to fame is being the co-host of a podcast hosted by Keemstar, where you are literally there just for the purpose of being mocked by everyone on the internet for being a lolcow. Don't be surprised if you get invited on one day soon then. But hey, anything for a quick buck and a taste of clout, eh, Boogie? Even if it means siding with some of the worst people on the internet. Glad to know that all the kind words and encouraging messages you've tried to deliver in your videos in the past didn't mean squat, and that it was all just a facade to try and convince everyone that somehow you're the good guy of the internet. I hope for your sake that the grift is worth it. Boogie's in his 50s and has made it quite clear his only goal in life now is to make money. He's being very honest about that. If you haven't been keeping up with him, then I think you might have fallen behind on that message. You are assigning titles of worst people on the internet. You are claiming everything he does, like that of the Quartering and Melanie Mac, to be that of a grift, because it goes against what you do. You have dug your heels in the sand and chosen a position. Your position is somewhat faulty. This tweet got a lot of traffic, even from those you've blocked, for example, like Nick Diorio. I can't wait to hear what self-aware Tipster thinks about Boogie being a poor lolcow. Boogie saw this, retweeted it directly and said, "Tipster, glad to see you stop defending Vosh and his lolly and horse fantasies long enough to type this. But no, unlike you, a person who got ejected from the commentary community to go fly false rainbow flags, I am no grifter. You are a perfect example of the type of person whose politics should stay far away from video games. I don't want you and your PDF poop anywhere near them. Politely go F yourself. What I'm really loving right now is that election season is in full swing. In the UK, it's about to happen. In the US, it is ongoing. It is going to get very heated. And because this devolves down to political lines, it just shows how much of a fraud some people are willing to be. Now, Tipster included 2 images in his tweet. Gamergate 2 is officialed Sweet Baby Inc. versus Elon Musk. If you don't know what Sweet Baby Inc. is, it is a Canadian narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal, founded by former Ubisoft developers. It is an absolute mess that led to a Steam group being created. The purpose was to encourage people to avoid games because the group had deemed Sweet Baby Inc. to be pushing a woke agenda by forcing companies to work towards greater diversity, equity, and inclusion. They've even got their own Discord server for that, by the way. I don't care for this constant push, right? I really don't. I just want to enjoy video games. The pushing of equity, inclusion, diversity, when you're forcing it, feels forced. It doesn't feel right. The same can be said in the real world, away from the game. The fact that this is even happening is hilarious. It has been dubbed a fundamentally misinformed Gamergate-esque firestorm. I think it's another consumer revolt, but you're unwilling, many outlets are especially, to dub it as such. Back to the tweets though. Chris the Narc retweeting Boogie. This timeline is wild. Boogie just bodied Tipster, which he did. Tipster though wasn't happy and was not done. He retweeted Boogie with 2 pictures, one Boogie blocking Tipster and the second Boogie sat with somebody we cannot mention on YouTube or I'll get a strike. He tweeted, "Who ghost wrote this tweet for you, Boogie? Because we both know a spineless coward like you didn't do it. Let me remind everyone what your original response to me was. Oh, and you want to talk about PDFs? Aren't you the guy who recently literally shared a table with an actual PDF to chow down on Doritos and Mountain Dew? I think there's McDonald's there as well. What did that person get caught doing again? Oh yeah, tried to meet with a 13-year-old for a cupcake." I'm rephrasing because that's what he said. You keep good company, Boogie. Breaking bread with a PDF and siding with literal Chris the Narcs and bigots in Gamergate. Damn, Boogie, you sure have changed. Let's hope being on the right side of history this time around goes well for you and that all those friendly Gamergaters don't chew you up and spit you out the way Anita Sarkeesian did and had you crying like a little bitch at VidCon. Because we all know the anti-woke grifters won't turn on you the moment they realize how pathetic you really are. The thing is, most of them know how pathetic he is because he's been very honest and admitted he's pretty pathetic. We've all seen the documentary. We also know the picture that many have seen on Twitter of him sat with the unnamed person, the he who shall not be named who wants a 13-year-old cupcake, was for a documentary. We know this because he's very openly discussed that on Twitter because he got permission to mention it. I think there's an NDA involved as well. You are falsely equating 2 very, very different things. Now, granted, Boogie did the same thing in his response, original one to you. I fully understand that. I find it funny that you're willing to post that Boogie blocked you, but you've blocked others for mentioning other names that you don't like anymore. People who've been critical of you. It's quite astonishing at this point how willing you are to make a rule for yourself but cry foul when it happens to you. You also can't compare Gamergate 1 to Gamergate 2. The first one was a legit consumer revolt. You can all blame Zoe Quinn for being the straw that broke the camel's back on that one. That blew well out of proportion. This time round, there might be a chance that Boogie might actually come through this one a bit differently. Last time, he was being very nice. He really was then. This time, he doesn't have to be nice anymore. Sons of Acronia tweeted, 2024 is shaping up to be one hell of a year. BOOGIE2988 versus Just So Tippy is another result of Chris Chan's dimensional merge. Lolcow Wars, and you have 2 cards. Boogs, tamed Chungus, and you have Super Tipster Bro, a legendary lolcow. So he has legendary lolcow status over lolcow Boogs. That's interesting. Tipster also has higher hit points. That's interesting as well. I'm intrigued by this. Yes, or health, I guess. I'm impressed. I guess maybe it's his youth that gives him the advantage, not that you can tell he's younger. Yeah. Nick Diorio. After Tipster got completely decimated by Boogie, his big response was to expose Boogie for blocking. Tipster, of course, has a multi-platform policy to ban anyone who says my name, leaked by his own friends, which was leaked from a Discord that we recently showed. Here's the image again. We've mentioned this last week, I think, with the Keffels response video. Boogie retweeted Tipster. I got paid by Mike Klum to go scream at a PDF he was exposing. When someone exposes your ass, though, I will do it for free. And yet I blocked you because you disgust me. It's one thing to yell at a PDF. It's a whole other one to be you and jerk off to drawings of literal children. When I'm done putting you in your place, I will likely block you again. and no one wrote my tweets for me. I have a ton of friends who would. The only friend you have left is Keffels. But wait, didn't she throw you under the bus for defending Vosh? Great friend, LOL. But I don't need help to destroy someone as pathetic and disgusting as you. And you call me a grifter. Didn't you fail as a gaming creator to join the commentary community, then fail at that to grift the Rainbow Coalition? This comes from a guy who went from sexually harassing e-girls to now sexually harassing trans girls. Jesus Christ. Genuinely and wholeheartedly, I hope you choose to chemically castrate yourself rather than defend PDFs. And before you actually hurt someone, you disgusting F. I'm not going to deny, this version of Boogie I like. This one had some real thought, sat there on their phone and typed that crap out, or dictated it to somebody with smaller hands. No offense, Boogie. Chris the Narc. Tipster had tweeted, everyone loves the goth mummies, but what about the goth daddies? Goth daddies need love too, ya know. See Tipster's expanding his horizons. Bo Blacks. I don't know why Tipster thinks it's quirky to say stuff like this. It gives off super creepy vibes. And I agree. Keemstar also agrees here as well. Chris the Nazi though had a really good idea, a rarity I know, where I propose someone make a Gino Samuel style channel for Tipster soon. We need someone to document his life. I had suggested this a while back for someone like Ethan Ralph, and honestly, give it another year and I think Tipster might well be that guy. It wouldn't surprise me if it became one for him, because he is becoming that. I don't think he's self-aware enough to realise the more he digs his heels in, the more damage he does to his own reputation. I don't know why you're so willing to ignore sense. Of course, what is sense is subjective, but in this, sense would be to stop trying to fight or bait out for fights with Boogie on a moral high ground when you do not have the moral high ground, which you Tipster might well argue is subjective. You'd be incorrect to do so. You've chosen repeatedly the wrong hill to die on. The lolly one really set you in stone as an absolute melt. A plonker, tosspot, a dipshit, an incompetent fool. You are quick to rile and quick to judge. And your quick judgment comes from being reactionary. It's why you failed at commentary. You need to be able to sit there, absorb information, and judge it without confirmation bias in your heart. And you can't do that. I'm not surprised you didn't make it as a gamer, but if you keep failing at what you're doing, you're going to have to give back your play button. Although at this point, I might start a campaign for you to give it to Boogie instead, because I think he deserves it more than you do. Now, as a final thing, I'd like to apologise for this visual. I'm going to London today. Whenever this goes out, I'm going to London on Monday. So while I've recovered from whatever it was that was bugging me for 2 weeks, I wasn't able to find the time to edit my avatar in. Tuesday, back to regular scheduled programming. My apologies for that. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And smash the like on the way out. Or dislike, whichever makes you happy.